There was a meeting in Richmond, Virginia of Occupy Richmond and also local Tea Party groups like the Peninsula Patriots Tea Party and the Chester Patriots Tea Party as well. They all have fun names. They got together. Now, they both say, hey, look, we're not representing the movements. We're not trying to hijack the movements. It was just local guys who happen to be on the right-wing side and the left-wing side getting together and saying, hey, do we have anything in common? And what was fascinating, is reported by Chris Dovey at Salon Magazine, is that, of course, they had a ton in common. And once they got together, they realized, and this is Josh Kadrick, who was one of the Occupy guys, they realized that these are the list of things that they totally agree on. Common citizen is no longer represented by his elected officials. I totally agree with that as well. That holding political office tends to corrupt even well-intended people. Sounds like they all watch the Young Turks together. And then they say that political parties are taking advantage of voters by seeking to polarize issues that really are of minimal consequence. And I totally agree with that as well. And right-wing and left-wing, they're like, hey, you know what? Our government is corrupt. That's why we're both protesting. And, you know, and then the Occupy guys say, hey, well, who do you think corrupted them? It's a question that I love to ask. And the Tea Party people said, hey, you know what? You know, in the recounting of the story here in Salon, they say, it's not a bad point. We can see how corporate influence would be, you know, something that winds up affecting the politicians when they get money from there. Now, it's not to say that the Tea Party people are now on the rampage against corporations or anything like that, or unlimited money that they spend, but it was an interesting and fruitful conversation. They want to meet again. And then Kadrick said, quote, a team up of Tea Party and Occupy movement would be the biggest threat ever. I totally agree, and I think that that would be just absolutely fantastic. Now, one more productive thing that came out of the meeting that's really interesting. It turns out that the Occupy guys have been using this park for 2 weeks, and they didn't have to pay for any of it. But the Tea Party guys had done a protest at that same park, and they were made to pay $8,544.82 for permits, etc., right? Now the Occupy movement is helping the Tea Party movement recoup that cost from the government, because they're saying you shouldn't have to pay for your putting together a protest. That's a well-known fact of the United States Constitution. Even when the KKK marches through a town, they can't be made to pay for it, because that is their First Amendment right. So they should have never charged the Tea Party guys in the first place, and I love that the Occupy movement is helping them get that money back. Get together, man. We can do this. We can fight the power if we join forces. And we have the same exact complaints that the other side has. Our politicians have been totally corrupted, and it's largely the influence of giant money, whether it's corporations, unions, etc., that have corrupted this process. We need to get our democracy back, and we need to start following the Constitution.